You're listening to the legendary podcaster, the one, the only, T-Jam D. Your personal favorite, and the show you've been waiting for. Probably Offensive.
Welcome to Probably Offensive. I am your host, Anthony Scott Dover. And for your COVID update, yes, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, which I thought would be gone by now. I guess I was wrong. Yes, I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm not always right. It's a rarity, but sometimes I'm wrong because, this is the president knew about the virus, the coronavirus, COVID-19, back in January. And the Chinese knew about this virus last year. It started in China and spread across the world. It's a global pandemic. For those of you who don't know what that means, which I'm pretty sure most of us do know what that means, even if you didn't know what it meant before now, you know what it means now. A global pandemic means it is an illness, a virus, a disease of some kind that has spread. It's contagious. So it's spread across the globe. Not just in one country or another, but it's everywhere. So it's global and it's a pandemic, meaning it's some kind of illness that's contagious that they do not have a cure or a vaccine for. So, no vaccine just yet for the global pandemic, which the doctors and the scientists for many different health organizations and big pharma, they're working really hard to get, because it's going to be worth a lot of money if they're able to when they're able, they'll get a vaccine at some point. It's just a matter of when. The president is pushing for them to get it before the election so he can benefit from it politically by saying, look, because of my great leadership, we have a vaccine now. And, unfortunately, 200,000 people, we've reached over 200,000 people who have died from COVID. And I know, a lot of you skeptics and conspiracy theorists are saying, no, most of those people never died from COVID. They died from other stuff, and people just said it was COVID, which is nonsensical. It's not true. And here's why. I know they say, well, the hospital gets more money if they say it was COVID. Listen, if someone had something else, some other illness, and they got COVID too, that's why they died, because they had the other illness and they was living with it. They might have been taking medication. They might have been, doing whatever they needed to do to survive the other illness. But when they get COVID on top of it, it kills them. So that's why I've been saying, if you have a compromised immune system, you don't have to be elderly. They say the COVID attacks elderly people and kills them, or a baby or something who's sickly. But people who are not elderly, meaning if you're 10, 12, 20, 30, 40, 50, not exactly elderly, and you have a compromised immune system, meaning that you've had some other ailment, then If you get COVID on top of it, then it might kill you too. But that's not saying you died from something else and they just said you had COVID. You died from COVID because you had something else. So yes, the COVID will kill you. If you have something else, it'll kill you easier than just getting COVID. Most people get COVID if they are a healthy person, and in a week or two, they're over it. So this is all old news that I'm talking as if we just found out about COVID. But some of people are so ignorant, it's almost like they did just find out about COVID. And some people are so in denial. I believe the media is blowing this out of proportion. It's not the media. The media is just covering what's going on. Okay? And I've never heard so many people argue with doctors and scientists when they have no medical knowledge. They're not doctors, nurses, or even an orderly. I've heard people, idiots, people who I know are stupid, telling me that doctors and scientists don't know what they're talking about when it comes to COVID. And I'm like, yes, they do. I put more stock in what someone who has gone to school, got an education to become a medical professional, whether it's a nurse or a doctor. They're a medical professional or a scientist. A scientist studies these things, been studying infectious diseases or whatever field of science he's into. They all bleed together. I put more stock in what they have to say than just some idiot on the internet saying doctors and scientists don't know what they're talking about. The media is blowing this out of proportion. COVID really is a hoax, and you don't need to wear a mask. And that's not really funny, but to me it's funny because people are so dumb, and we are supposed to be making progress. We're not getting any smarter as human beings. It seems like we're going backwards with stupidity. And we are just lucky that this virus doesn't kill more people, because we as human beings are so dumb that it's really ridiculous. We fight the doctors and the scientists, and some of us actually put stock in something someone else says who has no medical knowledge, no experience. Person is an idiot and has, they don't know what they're talking about. We actually listen to them because that person might be, president or something to that effect, so I don't know about you, but I put I take advice from doctors and scientists, and I don't care if doctors or scientists said we didn't need to wear a mask at first. They only said that because they didn't want everybody hogging up all the masks from medical professionals. You got to remember this. Doctors and nurses have been wearing masks for over 100 years in hospitals. Now all of a sudden people act like the mask, having to wear a mask, is killing them. First, the social distancing was killing them. They didn't want to stay in the house. They wanted to go out, so they started protesting social distancing, which is funny. This stuff is funny. I mean, this nation is coming down because of stupidity. Ignorance and stupidity is bringing us down, and it starts at the top. But now people are fighting wearing masks, so they don't want to wear masks. So they're saying, "Oh, the mask is killing me." No, the mask is not killing you. Doctors and nurses in hospitals have been wearing masks for 100 years, and it's We have never heard any of them say the mask kills people at work. We're wearing masks for hours at work, and it really kills people because one thing or another, with them, it's not killing anyone. This is just dumb shit that people say so they can pretend like I can't wear the mask, and I just am not going to wear. They don't want to wear a mask, so they're making up reasons basically to not wear the mask. You can't even tell people to wear a mask to save their own life or the family member's life, because you get COVID, you might not die from it. You might not even have symptoms the first few days, but then you might pass it on to somebody in your family that dies from it because that person has a compromised immune system from some other illness that they've had in the past, or grandma and grandpa. You might pass it on to them. So when I see jackasses whining and complaining about wearing a mask, I'm thinking, how selfish and inconsiderate can you be? Really, how selfish and inconsiderate can you be? We are over 7 million cases now, and I don't even think most people even pay attention to these numbers anymore, except for the deaths. Now, the deaths going over 200,000. People, still talk about the deaths and how many people have died from COVID. But the fact that we have moved over 7 million positive cases for COVID, and there's a lot more, because not everyone who has COVID who has caught COVID has even been tested. So there's a lot more than 7 million, but the fact that they've had 7 million positive tests really boggles my mind. But with the ignorance and stupidity that we're dealing with nowadays, nothing should surprise you. Nothing should surprise you. It doesn't surprise me anymore. No matter what I hear on the news, I'm not even surprised anymore, because I'm thinking that, that sounds about right. There's always a group of people who are so stupid, or people who, are losing their minds, basically. They're literally losing their minds, who have started to think some conspiracy is going on, which we will get to here in a moment. We're going to take a little break, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever it is, and we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to a man who's almost intelligent. Very close. Welcome back to Probably Offensive. One hell of a show. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back to the show. I wanted to say my condolences for Gale Sayers, and we'll get to some sports here in a minute. Gale Sayers, for those who don't know who Gale Sayers was, he was a Hall of Fame football player. Played for the Chicago Bears. Didn't play very long because of injury, but he was the most exciting, dazzling, productive football player probably anybody has ever seen. He died here just recently. He was 77 years old, had dementia, and so he passed away. So condolences